Hey everyone, Chris from TTCombat Gaming here, and I'm going to show you how I paint worn leather armour on the priests from the Carnivale Vatican starter set from TTCombat. I'm going to use just these 4 paints from TTCombat's new paint range: Trench Mud, Viscera Red, Black and Adriatic Skin. I also use TTCombat's thinner to make glazes, and I'll be showing you using this priest model because he has plenty of robe to paint, including his hood. I set up the 4 paints on my wet palette, and to get the base brown colour I mix Trench Mud, a little bit of Viscera Red and a little bit of Black. I do this by eye, mixing and adjusting as I go until I get a warm dark brown that I like. I'm not too bothered if the leather on this model doesn't perfectly match the other model, because it'll just give a different age to the leather or how the leather's been cared for. With the colour made, I just paint in all the areas I want to be leather. I give the model a couple coats to get a strong even coat. Smaller areas that I don't want to be leather can be tidied up later, so I'm not massively careful. Here's what they look like once I've done a couple of layers. I tried making a lighter brown, but I wasn't happy with it, so I've pulled some of the dark brown base along and started adding Adriatic Skin. I add a little more Viscera Red into the mix to give it a little more of a warm tone, and we end up with a nice chocolatey brown. This colour is going to represent the untanned leather underneath the top layer. I painted in like a rough highlight, more tapping the paint on. It gives a more textured effect, acting as the damaged leather where the material scrapes along the ground or is handled often, like on the cuffs on the sleeves or the edge of the hood. And on this model the front looks like it may have a pouch inside of it, so I imagine that to be handled quite a lot. I also add a couple of scratches where a blade or a claw may have swiped at them and nicked the armour. Add a little more Adriatic Skin to the colour we just made, and this is going to act more like the raw hide of the leather where no tanning has taken place, so we get a very light colour. I apply this by tapping the paint on again, but being very sparing. Areas of deep cuts and a lot of use get this colour. For where cuts have taken place, I apply it thinly under the previous colour to give it a sense of depth. Now we have the leather weathered up and worn out. Areas where the leather is handled a lot have had the tanned leather crack and reveal the more raw layers of the material. Knife and claw scratches help tell the story of the armour, even if this isn't the first priest to wear it, but it is quite stark, so we want to help the layers blend a little bit. Using thin and medium and the base colour, I create a glaze. It's very thin and flows easy. I start the stroke where the lighter colour is and paint towards the darker areas of the leather. This leaves more of the paint pigment where I lift the brush off, so the lighter colour still gets some of that colour, but not much. And I gradually build the glaze up, starting at the same point but finishing sooner. It gives the leather that rich colour again, but still with the weathering. Make sure to let each layer dry before doing the next. On the hood, I start at the edge of the hood and paint towards the middle of the head, where the leather isn't as worn out. Again, letting the layer dry first. Add a little bit of black into the glaze and begin the glaze into the deep folds of the leather to add more depth. I also glaze around where the leather is layered and where the other materials meet the leather. I like to glaze a thin line over the scratches above the lightest colour to give deep gouges a bit more depth. Large flat areas can also look good with this glazed onto it, giving the colour a much richer look. If you think you need to re-establish the lightest colour, do so sparingly. Again, tapping the colour on, but try not to have long stretches of the colour. I only apply it in a few areas here. After that, I finished off the models off camera, using only TTCombat paints. I wanted to see how the colours all blended and mixed, and I was really impressed with the results, even able to match the skin tones I usually use. And the metallics had a good quality to them too. I really like how the gold looks on the crucifixes.
Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, and hit subscribe to easily see my next video. Or don't. Whatever, you're your own person, do what you like.